What's up, YouTube? The Tatted Ball Guy here. If you've seen my content before, you know I'm fortunate enough to have quite the sizable guitar collection. But today, I thought we'd give a little bit of love to my bass guitar collection. So let's not waste any time and jump right in. The first up is a bass by Harley Benton. This is probably my most affordable bass, and it's quite the workhorse. It has both the P and the J pickups, and it has a really nice tone. My only complaint is that it's a little bit noisy. I definitely utilize my noise gate whenever I have this one plugged in. The next brand is going to be Squire by Fender. This first bass is called the Bronco bass, and it comes in at about $200. It has a real smooth sound, and I would definitely recommend it for any beginner or even an intermediate bass player looking for a backup. The quality of budget brands like Harley Benton is on the rise, so Squire created the Bronco bass to throw their hat in the mix. Sticking with the brand Squire, we have the Jaguar bass. I love the matching black headstock. It's a nice touch. Like the Bronco bass, this is a shorter scale bass. It's fast and has a similar neck to a guitar. This bass is also by Squire. It's a 5-string jazz bass with active pickups. I bought this bass used and it has a real smooth tone. My one complaint about this bass, it weighs a metric ton, so I don't reach for it too often. And this last one is also by Squire, and it's probably my favorite. Crafted in Indonesia, it's the Squire jazz bass, the 70s vibe. But you'll notice the headstock doesn't say Squire. It says Fender. That's because the previous owner made some awesome upgrades. He threw in some Seymour Duncan pickups. He also decided to repaint the headstock. He's the one that put the Fender logo on there, but I'm not trying to fool anybody. Still, despite it being an imposter, with the upgraded Seymour Duncan pickups, this is definitely my favorite Squire in the collection. I often reach for it when I'm looking for that jazz bass with the modern edge sound. The next brand is BC Rich. This is my early 90s Platinum Series Warlock. I'm a big fan of the color. I think it gives it that 80s metal edge. As for the actual tone of the bass, it's surprisingly smooth. That being said, this bass is great for a clean tone, but equally as great when I run it through some distortion. The next one up in the collection is another one from BC Rich. Here we have the BC Rich Revenge. It's a longer scale bass and an absolute unit. It looks more like medieval weaponry than it does an instrument. In my opinion, that just makes it even more metal. Like the Warlock, this tone is surprisingly smooth. By the looks of this bass, you don't automatically think smooth, clean tone, but this bass sure has one. This bass is definitely another favorite in my collection. This bass right here is from Ola England's company, Solar Guitars. I absolutely love this 5-string because it was made for playing metal. The look is killer, but the tone is even better. When I run it through my B7K pedal, it has a snarl that cuts right through the mix, without sacrificing any of its low end. When I'm playing my drop tune metal, this bass makes a frequent appearance. Before I get into my final and favorite brand of bass, let me introduce you to my Ibanez ergodan. This was one of my first bass guitars, and I played it on stage all the time. That is until we were playing a small club, and this behemoth of a man did a flip over the stage railing, kicking my bass in the input jack. He put a hole right through it that I tried to cover with a sticker. This bass is out of commission and no longer playable, but I still keep it around because it served me well for such a long time. And now on to my favorite brand. In my opinion, this is hands down the best bass company. I'm talking about Warwick. This 4-string Corvette was one of my first high-end basses. It helped take my tone and my playing ability to the next level. No, the instrument doesn't necessarily make you better, but my desire to play and practice was increased because of my love for playing the instrument. I tried a lot of different brands when I was younger, searching for that perfect sound. When I found Warwick, I knew I found what I was looking for. This particular Warwick was my first, but it's certainly not the only one. This 4-string Corvette with the red wood grain was the main bass I played on stage. This bass has war wounds all over it from my wild metal stage antics. It's still playable, but it definitely needs some love. My next Warwick is the Corvette Double Buck. This particular model came out in 2006. It has active pickups, and it was a nice contrast to the passive pickups in the 2 previous basses. The sound is fat and punchy at the same time. Getting this bass sealed the deal for me, and in some wild fantasy alternate timeline, if I were to ever be sponsored by a bass company, I would definitely want it to be Warwick. This 5-string Corvette by Warwick with the black wood grain is probably my most used for recording. The tone is amazing, and I absolutely love the feel of the bass. Any musician can tell you, feel is just as important as the tone. And my last bass in this collection is going to be the Warwick Vampire. This particular bass is the Dark Lord edition with a longer scale neck. It looks killer and sounds the same. This is definitely a great bass to bust out whenever I'm laying down some metal, and also really great for live shows. Well, that's the extent of my bass collection. If you're curious about any of the basses you saw, feel free to leave me a comment down below. So that's going to do it for this one. I really appreciate you stopping by. If you like what you saw, consider hitting that subscribe button. So once again, I'm the Tatted Bald Guy, reminding you, it doesn't matter the genre, good music makes your head nod. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.